Welcome to my podcast. I'm the Laughing Philosopher. Life is complicated. You are complicated. Everything seems to have been figured out, except how to live a happy life, guided by wisdom and reason. What does it mean to be a good person? What is love? Who am I before I was told who I am? Why haven't I found myself yet? Why do I have regrets? Is this a just world? Almost from the moment of birth, we've been told how to behave, how to fit in, and how to fulfill other people's expectations. We grow to fear that we will lack importance or cease to exist in the lives of others if we think for ourselves and question the rules and roles that we've been told define us. Only when wisdom and reason removes this illusion can we live authentically in the world around us and become our real selves. Episode number 42. When you're 80, what will you wish you spent more time doing? You're 80. Prepare to face death. What are you thinking and feeling? To be a human being means to meet death with profound regrets. And more specifically, 3 profound regrets. Will you die an unhappy person, tormented by these regrets? Or will you die a happy person with no regrets? It's up to you. Think of your life as a project. As you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you review the contents of your project and see that you made mistakes. You did things, questionable things, that you should not have done. You chose running away from suffering in order to save your own life, instead of running toward affliction to save the life of others. And you failed to do things, compassionate and affirmative things that you should have done. There is no greater tragedy than a missed opportunity to share your umbrella with a stranger in the rain. And you failed yourself. You ignored the counsel of your own wisdom and reason if it didn't agree with your selfish desires. Remorse will fill your soul as a tree absorbs rain. Is this really how you want to feel as death stands at your door and knocks? Will you greet death with 3 regrets? Regret to love, regret to forgive, and regret to dream. There is no perfect life. Everyone has a shadow. Yet you can choose how to live now, right now, in order to be as cheerful and optimistic in the end as you were in the beginning. Will you regret to love? In life, in your life, do you give love? Because if you do not give love, if you don't show love, then there is no difference between you and a stone, apathetic and indifferent. Do you need a reason, the right reason, to give love? Because love doesn't need a reason. Just as the sun also rises for no reason, and the universe expands for no reason, you should give love for no reason? Do you give a just amount of love, not too much or too little? Because all love is one. Love between a man and a woman and a woman, and a man and a man. Love between a woman and her cat, and love between a man and his dog. Love between best friends, old friends, and found friends. Love is one. Love cannot be measured out, doled out, or rationed out. Love gives everything and holds nothing back. Do you give love to the right persons? Because rain falls on the evil as well as the good. So too should you give love, as if there are no right or wrong persons. Even Satan loves his family and friends. What merit is there in that? You must shower your love like rain on all persons, with compassion and without judgment. Do you give love in exchange for something? Do you give love in exchange for praise, or approval, or acceptance? Do you exchange love for money, or prestige, or power, or pleasure? Do you give love only to those persons that give love to you? Because even Hitler loved his wife and his friends and his dog when they loved him back. Love should never be exchanged, even for love. There is no merit in being a rock or a sponge. Love is not a commodity to be exchanged for something like paper money or seashells or human teeth. Your love should be freely given and freely received. If it's not, then it is not real love. Are you the kind of person that takes the limits of his own love to be the limits of all love? This is a lie that you use to deceive yourself. The limits of your love may be to give your spare change every morning to the homeless woman sleeping on the street outside your Wall Street office building. Yet, it might be to gift $1 million to an inner city school to see your name on its gymnasium. It might be to give your life for a friend. There is nothing so difficult as not deceiving yourself, said Wittgenstein. Stop lying to yourself. You have more love to give, and the more you give, the more you have to give, and the more you desire to give. Love is like a hole. The more you take away from it, the bigger it gets. The Buddha said, "Drop by drop is the water pot filled." Likewise, the wise, gathering it little by little, fills himself with good. Unlike your money, your love is limitless. Will you regret to forgive? Do you know what it feels like to be wronged? Do you know what it's like to be wronged for speaking the truth? Have you been kicked, beaten, and abused just because you possessed something desired by the strong and you were too weak to resist? Have you ever been bullied, taken advantage of, and pushed around? This kind of suffering is a normal consequence of life, just as sparks fly upward from a fire. It is not a just world, but that's just an excuse rather than a reason to fail to show compassion and forgiveness. Certainly, bad things happen to good people. Absolutely. Bad people cheat in order to win in order to lie, and lie in order to steal. Indeed, bad people succeed by climbing over the broken bones, bleached skulls, and withered corpses of their friends and colleagues. Nevertheless, the world is not a bad place just because of bad people. Airplane rides get bumpy right after the fasten seatbelt sign goes on. But that does not mean if the sign is turned off, then the ride will be smooth. Just as the fasten seatbelt sign does not cause the ride to get bumpy, bad people don't cause the world to be a bad place. And the world would not be better off without them. Forgiveness is like the turbulence that causes the ride to get bumpy and causes the sign to turn on. Forgiveness, your forgiveness, means that bad people are not punished. That's why it is not a just world. But it is a beautiful world. Do you forgive and forget? Or do you forgive and never forget? Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intention of throwing it at someone else, said the Buddha. You are the one who gets burned. You will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger. If someone came to you and admitted he was wrong and offered to make things right, and you could see that he was really sorry, what would you do? Forgiveness is not a free gift that you give to other persons. Forgiveness is a precious gift that you give to yourself. Your hatred will never cease, said Confucius, if you forgive, but still can say, he kicked me, he beat me, he abused me. Jesus claimed to deliver a message from God. The message is known as the good news. So what is the good news? The good news is freedom. Freedom from sin and freedom from death. Your captivity is over. Isaiah Berlin, the philosopher, recognized that freedom doesn't mean happiness. Freedom is complicated, and there is more than one important kind of freedom. Freedom from something is what most people think of first. Freedom means to be free of a person, an ideology, or an external object. Freedom from the iron bars and stone walls of a prison, a bad marriage, or religious mythologies. So unlocking the door to your cage and ending your captivity will make you free. Freedom to do something means to be free to think for yourself, free to choose how to live, free to question answers and to answer questions, guided by your own wisdom and experience. Listening to this podcast is a good example of this kind of freedom. This is also freedom to learn a new skill, carry an umbrella on a sunny day, or wear 2 different socks. In the end, these 2 types of freedom are in conflict. Divorcing a spouse may lead to becoming a slave to your job and your paycheck. Demythologizing your religious beliefs and your religious convictions may lead to a defective kind of moral decision-making based on how you feel rather than guided by wisdom and reason. Is murder right or wrong? Just listen to your heart. You just know what is right and what is wrong. You know without reasoning. You just don't know why. So right and wrong are in the eye of the beholder, like choosing between competing brands of peanut butter. Unlike wisdom, ignorance has no limits. Thinking for yourself, as opposed to rule following, may lead to spending many hours, and in my life, many years studying the great philosophers in order to figure out how to live. A prisoner of philosophy. More of one kind of freedom leads to less of the other kind of freedom. This is why there is more than one right way to live, and also why more freedom does not lead to more happiness. Wealth, fame, and power will lead to new freedoms. Freedom to have several wives or several husbands. Freedom to own several homes and several automobiles. Freedom to purchase expensive furniture and expensive artwork. And freedom to employ managers and lawyers and servants and assistants to help you take care of your new possessions. Wealth, fame, and power come with many new obligations and responsibilities and many new demands on your time and attention. Do you possess your possessions? Or do your possessions possess you? We shower the rich and famous with our admiration. Perhaps they deserve only compassion. Epictetus said, "Freedom is secured not by the fulfilling of desires, but by the removal of desire." Diogenes observed that the key to a good life is to be free. The happiest person has the most when they are content with the least. So one way of life is as good as any other. And that's why Diogenes moved into a barrel, wore rags, and ate discarded food. Alexander the Great found him sunning himself and offered Diogenes anything he wished. All the philosopher asked for was that the emperor move out of his sunlight. If Alexander was not Alexander, replied Alexander, he would wish to be Diogenes. Will you regret to dream? Are you kind and gentle to yourself? That is what dreams are for. To dream of yourself. Dream about the person you desire to be, and dream about the life you desire to live. You dream of what you can't seem to get enough of, whatever that means to you. A good night's sleep, not worrying about the future, finding a reason to laugh, not feeling afraid, relaxing after a long day, not regretting the past, quieting your mind, not expecting perfection, enjoying progress as well as perfection, taking time to reflect, not being impatient, and feeling motivated. Do you dream of being a better person? A good person is not a person that does the right thing for the wrong reasons. If you do the right thing, not because you believe in it, but just because it is expected of you, then you are not a good person. You first completed college and then married your first serious girlfriend or boyfriend, and then started your climb up the career ladder, and then purchased a pretty pink house in the suburbs, and then had a baby, all in the proper order, just because, almost from birth, you were told that you are supposed to. Freedom has had very little to do with the choices you made and how you live. You live to please other people and to fulfill their expectations. You busy yourself with trying to figure out how you should think, feel, and act so as to make other people happy with you. You can't spare 1 minute to think for yourself, to think about what you really want, and to live for yourself. It never even occurs to you not to follow the herd and to believe in yourself as an individual. The purpose of your life is to help other people realize the dreams they have about you, while the dreams you have about yourself are just as trivial and inconsequential as the homeless veteran asleep on the sidewalk outside your office building. Just because you are living the right kind of life and doing the right kind of things does not mean that you are a good person. To be safe, follow the herd. to be an individual. Follow your dreams. Dream of whatever makes you happy and become its slave. Dream of wherever makes you happy and go there. Dream of whoever makes you happy and give your love. George Bernard Shaw said, "We don't stop dreaming because we grow old. We grow old because we stop dreaming." So when you're 80, how will you wish you spent more time? Love, forgive, and dream. And you will achieve the ultimate goal of living, a happy life and a happy death, and a heart filled with pride in a rich, full, virtuous life well lived. And when the end comes and the day is done, Longfellow wrote, "The night shall be filled with music, and the cares that infest the day shall fold their tents like the Arabs, and as silently steal away." Hi, I'm Dr. Robert Corey, the Laughing Philosopher. Thanks for listening to my podcast. I've devoted my professional life to the intersection of sociology and philosophy, where the contemporary problems of life meet the ideas and convictions of the greatest human minds. Join me by subscribing to the Laughing Philosopher as we use reason and wisdom to explore big answers to the most important of all big questions: how to live.